Imagine looking into a mirror every day of your life and seeing someone who looks exactly like you. Same eyes, same smile, same voice when you laugh. Yet one day that reflection decides it wants to live your life instead of its own. It doesn't just borrow your clothes or copy your hairstyle. It takes your future, your love, your legacy, and slowly, carefully replaces you until the world forgets there was ever a difference between you two. That's what happened to me. My name is Sophia Grant, and for most of my life, I thought having an identical twin sister meant having a built in best friend, a safety net, a second heart beating in perfect rhythm with mine. I was wrong. Zara didn't want to share the mirror. She wanted to be the only one standing in front of it. We were born 17 minutes apart on August 12, 1998, in a private suite at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. The nurses joked that even the delivery room staff couldn't tell us apart at first glance. Same chestnut hair curling at the ends, same wide hazel eyes that changed color depending on the light, same tiny dimple that appeared only when we were truly happy. Our parents, Robert and Elena Grant, called us their two stars in one sky. Dad had started Grant Textiles in the early 1980s with nothing more than a single loom in a small warehouse in the garment district. By the time we could walk, he had turned it into one of the country's most respected suppliers of premium organic cotton, hand-woven silk, and intricate embroidered luxury fabrics. International buyers from Milan, Paris, Dubai, and London flew in regularly. Factories hummed in North Carolina, warehouses stood tall in New York and Chicago, and flagship showrooms sparkled in Beverly Hills and London's Mayfair. The company's valuation crossed $50 million by the time we turned 18. We grew up believing the world was ours to inherit together. Childhood memories are painted in double strokes. Zara was always the louder color, bold, fearless, impossible to ignore. She could convince our teachers to extend deadlines with one charming smile, negotiate bigger allowances from Dad with dramatic flair, and turn every family gathering into her personal stage. I was the quieter shade, thoughtful, precise, content to watch patterns emerge in chaos. While Zara danced at birthday parties, I sat with Dad in his office, tracing profit margins on spreadsheets, learning how shipping costs could make or break a season's collection. He never hid his pride in our differences. Zara will open doors, he'd say, ruffling her hair. Sophia will make sure those doors stay open forever. Mom would laugh and add, and together they'll build something even bigger than we ever dreamed. We attended a prestigious private academy in Los Angeles, then boarding school for high school. Zara shone in debate team, theater club, and every social circle. I led math competitions, economics clubs, and the quiet teams that organized school events behind the scenes. We shared everything: clothes, secrets, dreams. When Zara had her first heartbreak in 10th grade over a boy who chose someone else, I stayed up all night holding her while she sobbed into my shoulder. When I froze before my first major exam, she dragged me to the rooftop, made me laugh until the panic dissolved, then quizzed me until dawn. We were two halves of one whole. People said we were inseparable. We believed it too. At 21, Dad gathered us in his Ocean View office. The room smelled of cedar candles and aged, leather-bound ledgers. He looked older than his years, lines around his eyes from decades of worry and ambition. Grant Textiles will be yours one day, he said. But it needs both of you. Zara's fire to grow it, Sophia's steel to protect it. I've created a family trust. 40% to each of you when I retire or pass. 20% held in escrow until you both demonstrate you can run it together. Equal partners. No one above the other. Swear to me you'll honor that. We swore. We hugged him tightly. Zara whispered in my ear. We're going to make him prouder than he ever imagined, Soph. Forever. I believed every syllable. College pulled us in different directions. I went to Stanford for finance and supply chain management, top of my class, merit scholarship, internships at major textile firms in New York and the Carolinas. Zara chose NYU for marketing and international business, networking events in Paris, fashion weeks in Milan, Instagram reels from five-star suites. We spoke every single day, late-night FaceTime calls, shared memes, detailed plans for when we'd take over the company. She dated freely. Models, influencers, young entrepreneurs with flashy cars. I stayed focused, serious, about building something lasting. Then, in my final semester, I met Ethan Brooks. Ethan was 26, son of a respected New York business family with stakes in real estate and renewable energy. He worked in private equity, sharp-minded, calm under pressure, with a quiet intensity that felt like coming home. We met at a Stanford alumni networking event in Manhattan. He asked thoughtful questions about sustainable cotton sourcing, blockchain traceability for supply chains, the impact of climate change on southern cotton fields. We talked for 3 hours straight. Our first real date was coffee at a quiet spot in Soho. Conversation flowed so easily that the barista had to politely remind us they were closing. He saw me, not the quiet Grant twin, not the serious one. He saw Sophia, the woman who could recite global cotton futures prices from memory, who lost sleep worrying about fair wages for workers in Georgia, who dreamed of making Grant textiles fully sustainable by 2030. Our relationship grew slowly, deliberately. Long drives along the Pacific Coast Highway, quiet dinners where we sketched hypothetical business expansions on napkins, weekends at his family estate in the Hamptons, where we walked in comfortable silence and felt completely understood. He proposed on a rooftop in Paris during a joint business trip, simple solitaire diamond, sunset painting the sky in rose and gold. "You're my partner in every way that matters," he said. "Marry me, Sophia. Let's build a life and a legacy together." I said yes without hesitation. The wedding was planned for December 2024 at our family's oceanfront estate in Malibu. 200 guests, white canvas tents on the sand, waves crashing as the soundtrack, string lights draped between palm trees. Zara was my maid of honor. She threw herself into every detail. She helped select the gown, ivory silk with hand-embroidered crystal details and delicate beading that caught the light like stars. She curated the playlist, designed the invitations, organized the bridal showers and rehearsal dinner. When I tried on the finished dress in the boutique, she cried real tears. "You look like a dream, Soph. Ethan doesn't deserve you, but he's the luckiest man alive." We laughed through happy tears. I trusted her with my whole heart. 3 months before the wedding, the first crack appeared. Dad suffered a mild heart attack during a routine visit to the North Carolina factory. Doctors ordered complete rest, no travel, no stress, reduced hours. He accelerated retirement discussions. The trust would activate in 6 months. Zara flew back from Paris immediately. She'd been there for what she described as a critical branding summit. I was already home, handling daily operations remotely, coordinating with factory managers via Zoom, reviewing export contracts. One evening, I returned early from the Beverly Hills showroom. The house was quiet, except for soft laughter coming from the living room. I walked in and froze. Zara and Ethan were sitting on the sofa, too close. Her hand rested on his thigh. They were watching something on her phone, heads bent together, laughing intimately. When they saw me, they sprang apart. Ethan stood quickly. "Just going over wedding seating arrangements," he said. Zara smiled sweetly. "You're always working, Soph. Someone has to plan the fun parts." My stomach twisted into a knot. But I forced a smile. "Of course, thank you both." That night I lay awake, the image replaying, her hand, his laugh, the ease between them. I told myself it was nothing. Stress. Imagination. I was wrong. A week later, Ethan left his phone charging in the kitchen while he showered. The screen lit up with a notification. Zara's name. I didn't plan to look. My hand moved on its own. I opened the message. The thread went back 5 months. "Zara, last night was perfect. Can't stop thinking about your hands on me. Ethan, you make me feel alive in a way she never has." Photo. Zara in black lace lingerie, time-stamped 2 weeks earlier while I was in North Carolina negotiating with a new cotton supplier. My knees gave way. I slid to the kitchen floor, phone trembling in my hand. I copied every message, every photo, every voice note, every timestamp. Then I installed a discreet mirroring app on my own phone. Our family plan made it legal. I placed his phone back exactly as I found it. When he came out of the shower, I smiled normally. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Perfect," I said. The wedding was postponed indefinitely due to family health concerns. Ethan said he needed time to, quote, reflect on his priorities. Zara played the perfect sister. "He wasn't ready, Soph. You deserve someone who chooses you every single day." Family rallied around me with pitying hugs and "poor Sophia" whispers. No one suspected her. Why would they? We were twins. Twins protect each other. Twins don't steal from each other. But she wasn't finished. Dad's recovery was slow. Medications clouded his thinking. Zara spent hours at his bedside, reading him newspapers, bringing him soup, playing his favorite jazz records. In his fogged state, she convinced him to sign new documents, an interim operating agreement appointing her as acting CEO with expanded executive powers. She told him I was too emotionally fragile after the breakup to handle the pressure of leadership. The 20% escrow portion of the trust? She quietly petitioned the family lawyer, a distant cousin she'd been cultivating for years, to release it early to ensure business continuity during this difficult transition. Suddenly, she held effective majority voting power. She began rebranding the company. New logo, sleek, minimalist, modern. New website, glossy photos of her shaking hands at trade shows in Milan and Paris. New Instagram account, posts crediting her visionary leadership for recent growth. At family dinners, she spoke confidently. "We need fresh energy, Dad. Sophia is brilliant with numbers and operations, but the world has changed. Global buyers want personality, storytelling, presence. Let me take the lead." Dad nodded weakly, trusting her. Mom looked worried but stayed silent, hoping it would pass. I stayed silent too. 6 months after the canceled wedding, Zara announced her engagement to Ethan. Instagram post. "Found my forever in the most unexpected place." Photos. Them on the beach at Malibu. The exact spot he proposed to me. Family group chat exploded with congratulations, heart emojis, wedding planning suggestions. My name wasn't mentioned once. Then came the invitation. A lavish engagement anniversary gala at the family estate in Malibu. Theme, a new chapter. Dress code, formal. 250 guests, business partners from Europe and the Middle East, extended family, old school friends, even my college professors and former internship supervisors. Zara, in a custom white silk gown with crystal embroidery. Ethan, in a tailored cream tuxedo with gold accents. Dad in a wheelchair, smiling faintly, proud of his shining daughter. The invitation included a personal note from Zara. "Soph, please come. For old time's sake, no bitterness. We're still sisters. I miss you." I RSVP'd yes. For 23 months, I had lived like a shadow. I moved to a modest apartment in Santa Monica, started a small boutique consulting firm, Grant Supply Chain Advisors. I took on modest clients, local exporters needing help with logistics optimization, inventory management, ethical sourcing certifications. I kept my social media private, my life invisible, my pain private, but every single day I collected bank statements showing suspicious transfers, vendor contracts with inflated prices, emails she forwarded carelessly, thinking I was no longer a threat. I still had access to old company cloud drives. The passwords had never been changed. I documented everything. I hired a forensic accountant in New York who specialized in family business fraud. Working quietly and quickly, he compiled a comprehensive dossier, bank traces, affidavits from former employees, cross-referenced statements. My top corporate lawyer reviewed it all. This is airtight. Fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, undue influence, embezzlement. We can move forward. Everything was ready. The gala night arrived, December 2025. The Malibu estate was transformed. Thousands of string lights draped between palm trees, live acoustic music drifting over the sand, long tables laden with grilled seafood, gourmet pasta, and desserts. Guests arrived in designer gowns, tuxedos, and cocktail attire. Zara was radiant in white silk, diamonds sparkling at her throat and wrists. Ethan stood beside her, arm around her waist, smiling for the cameras. I arrived late. Simple navy evening dress with delicate silver detailing, hair in a low bun, minimal makeup, no jewelry except Mom's old pearl earrings. Heads turned as I walked through the entrance. Whispers followed. "Sophia?" "She looks different. Stronger. Calmer. Untouchable." Zara spotted me near the welcome arch. Her smile flickered for half a second. "Soph, you came." She air-kissed both cheeks. "You look nice." Simple, but nice. I smiled back. Wouldn't miss it for the world. I waited until the main toast. Zara stepped onto the small stage, mic in hand, lights soft on her face. "To new beginnings," she said, voice clear and confident. "To love that finds its way home. To family that endures." I stepped forward slowly. "May I say a few words, sister?" The crowd quieted. Zara hesitated, eyes narrowing slightly. Guests murmured curiously. Dad nodded from his wheelchair near the front. She handed me the mic, expecting perhaps a reluctant toast or a moment of reconciliation. I took it calmly. "Thank you all for being here to celebrate. But before we raise glasses to new beginnings, let's talk about old endings and the truths they buried." I connected my laptop to the projector. I had tipped the AV team generously and shown them a preview the day before. The large screen behind Zara lit up. First slide. My engagement photo with Ethan smiling on the same beach at sunset. Then messages, Zara to Ethan. Last night was perfect. Can't wait for more. Photos. Them together months before my wedding was canceled. Gasps rippled through the crowd like wind over water. Next slide. Financials. Redacted but unmistakable wire transfers of $2.5 million to Dubai. Invoices inflated by 40%. Emails from Zara. Dad's too weak to notice. Sophia's out of the picture. Zara's face drained of color. This is fake, she cried. She's jealous, mentally unstable after the breakup. Someone turn this off, I continued, voice steady. Slide. Trust documents. Original 404020 split versus the new agreement she forced through. Lawyer affidavit. Signatures taken under duress. Medical records showing Dad's medicated state at the time. Then the video. Hidden footage from Dad's bedroom. He had consented years ago for security after a break-in scare. Zara at his bedside. Sign this, Dad. Sophia's heartbroken. She can't handle the stress. Let me protect the legacy you built. Dad's voice weak, slurred. But the girls are equal. Zara. We'll fix it later. Trust me. I'm doing this for the family. The silence that followed was deafening. Phones came out. Guests filmed. Zara screamed, Turn it off! This is my night. Security! I spoke last, looking directly at her. My mirror image. I didn't come to ruin a party. I came to reclaim what's mine and to protect what Dad built for both of us. The board has been notified. The trustee has frozen all assets. Lawsuits are filed. Fraud, embezzlement, breach of fiduciary duty, undue influence. Zara, Ethan, you have 48 hours to vacate the estate and company offices. Security is waiting outside. 2 private guards stepped forward, hired by my lawyer. Zara lunged for the laptop. I stepped aside calmly. Ethan tried to grab my arm. I looked at him. Don't. The video kept playing on loop. Guests murmured. Some cried. Some filmed. By morning, it was viral. #Grant Twin Takedown. Trending across the US, UK, UAE, and beyond. Dad reached for my hand. Tears streaming down his face. Sweetheart. I'm so sorry. I should have seen. I knelt beside him. It's okay, Dad. We'll rebuild. Together. Security gently but firmly guided Zara and Ethan toward the exit. She struggled, shouting accusations. You're ruining everything. You're the one who's sick. But no one came to her defense. Ethan walked in stunned silence, head down, avoiding eyes. The gala dissolved quickly after that. Guests left in small groups, some hugging me, some whispering apologies, some simply staring in disbelief. Mom stayed with Dad, holding his hand. I made sure the staff was paid for the night, and the catering was donated to local charities. No waste, no spectacle beyond what was necessary. I didn't go home that night. I drove to my small apartment in Santa Monica, sat on the balcony, overlooking the city lights, and let the adrenaline crash. For the first time in 23 months, I allowed myself to cry, not from pain, but from release. The weight I had carried alone was finally shared with the truth. The fallout unfolded like dominoes. By 8 a.m. the next morning, the video clips had spread across every major news outlet in the U.S. CNN, Fox Business, The Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg. International media picked it up. BBC, Gulf News, Vogue Business. Headlines read, Twin Sisters Shocking Showdown at Malibu Gala. Embezzlement allegations rock multi-million empire. Zara's Instagram was flooded with comments, some supportive, most horrified. She went private within hours. Authorities arrived at the estate by noon. Zara and Ethan were taken into custody on charges of financial fraud and embezzlement. The evidence dossier, now in the hands of the FBI's white-collar crime division, was too comprehensive to ignore. Bank traces, forged documents, witness statements from former employees who had feared speaking up earlier. Bail was denied initially. They spent 3 days in custody before posting bond. The company board, Dad's trusted advisors, plus independent directors, convened an emergency meeting. I was invited to present the evidence. They voted unanimously to remove Zara as acting CEO and reinstate the original trust structure. I was appointed interim CEO until Dad could formally step down. Auditors were brought in immediately. Within weeks, the diverted funds, $2.5 million, were frozen in offshore accounts. Recovery proceedings began. Family reactions varied. Some aunts and uncles initially defended Zara. She's young, she made mistakes, blood is thicker. But as more details emerged, the video of her manipulating Dad, the kickbacks, the lies, most came around. Mom moved in with me for a month, crying at night, apologizing for not seeing sooner. I thought twins couldn't hurt each other like this, she whispered. I held her. Some can. But we're still family. The real one. Dad's health stabilized enough for him to attend one last board meeting from home via video. He spoke briefly. I built this company on trust. Sophia has proven she understands that. Zara, I love you, but you lost your way. I hope you find it again. He passed peacefully 18 months later, surrounded by mom, me, and my future husband. The funeral was simple, dignified, no drama, just love. Zara's life unraveled quietly after the plea deal. She received probation, full restitution, including selling personal assets, and mandatory community service. She changed her last name, moved to a rented apartment in a quiet suburb, and took a junior sales job under an assumed identity. She stopped attending family events, stopped calling. Last I heard, she was living alone, avoiding mirrors. Ethan disappeared from the public eye. His family distanced themselves. He moved to Dubai, took a low-profile job in real estate brokerage. No more private equity glamour. No more headlines. I rebuilt slowly, carefully. Grant Textiles returned to its roots. Transparent leadership, ethical sourcing, fair wages for workers in the Carolinas. I introduced sustainability initiatives, organic cotton partnerships, solar-powered factories, blockchain tracking for supply chains. Revenue grew 42% in the first year, 68% in the second. International buyers returned, trust restored. I met Lucas 2 years after the gala. He was a supply chain consultant from Chicago, kind, steady, with no interest in drama or status. We started as colleagues, then friends, then partners. No grand proposal, no beach sunset. Just a quiet dinner at home one evening, where he said, I want to build a life with you, Sophia. No secrets, no games. We married in a small ceremony at the Malibu estate, close family only, ocean in the background, string lights still strung from that night. It felt like closing a circle. Today, I stand on the same balcony where I once raised a glass alone. The estate is ours again, mine and Lucas's, Mom's second home. The business is thriving. The workers call me Ms. Grant, with respect, not fear. Every time a new export order comes in, every time a supplier thanks us for fair prices, I feel the weight of what was almost lost and what was reclaimed. Zara never reached out. I never reached back. Some bridges burn for good reason, but sometimes, late at night, I look at my reflection in the glass door and remember the girl who once believed twins were forever. I don't hate her anymore. I don't pity her either. I just feel free because the sweetest revenge isn't destruction. It isn't pain. It's becoming the woman they tried to erase and living so fully, so honestly, that their lies can't touch you anymore. To anyone who's ever been replaced by someone who looked just like you, your story isn't over. Your reflection may have tried to steal the frame, but the light inside you is yours alone. Let it shine. Wait. Gather your truth. And when the moment comes, step forward, not with anger, with clarity, with proof, with the quiet power of someone who survived the darkest betrayal and came back brighter. Because mirrors can lie, but truth never does.